The Republican primary field is very quickly getting much more crowded, including with two very interesting new entrants. Mike Pence expected to announce he will run against his own former president under whom he served. And Chris Christie is going to announce that he is entering this race, which is very, very interesting for other reasons, which I will talk about in a moment. We will start with Mike Pence. Mike Pence, reports NPR, expected to announce 2024 run for president on June 7th at an event in Des Moines, according to a source familiar with the campaign. I am sure that it will be an electric atmosphere when Mike Pence makes this announcement. No, it won't. It will be quite the opposite, but it will be an interesting announcement nonetheless, and we'll talk about why in a moment. NPR writes Pence has been signaling his plans for several months, with several stops in early voting states like New Hampshire and Iowa, and the announcement of a super PAC supporting his bid. Pence will join at least 9 other Republicans attempting to unseat Trump as the frontrunner for the Republican nomination. Now, what will Pence's campaign look like? Because if you serve as vice president to Trump and then you run against him, you can't do the thing that Nikki Haley and Tim Scott and others are doing where you don't criticize Trump, right? If you're saying, I disagree so much with the guy I served under that I will run against him, you have to explain what your disagreements are, I think. NPR writes, in the past several weeks, Pence has previewed a campaign focused on returning the Republican Party to traditional Republican themes like expanding free markets, fiscal responsibility, supporting American allies abroad, and small government. He has made more pointed attacks on Trump, his former running mate, by invoking his own faith and family values and promising to respect the Constitution. Here is an MSNBC, NBC News report of the moment when news of this broke.
We have breaking news regarding a new entry into the already crowded Republican race for president. We told you last hour that on Tuesday, Chris Christie was getting in. Now on Wednesday, former Vice President Mike Pence. NBC's John Allen has the very latest. He's breaking this story and joins me on the phone. John, what can you tell us?
I can tell you Mike Pence is in. As of a week from today, he will be doing video probably in the morning, and then a launch speech in Des Moines, Iowa. His campaign is very focused on Iowa, as are a lot of campaigns, as a place that they believe is very hospitable to the former vice president, in part because of its strong evangelical Republican base. So he'll be doing that speech sometime on the 7th, and then there's going to be a town hall later that night.
Okay, so that is the CNN town hall. Last week we thought that Pence was going in this direction because we knew CNN had scheduled a Republican town hall with Pence. And we said to ourselves, would they be doing that if this guy was not going in the direction of running? So currently, Mike Pence is running in 4th place. We have the latest polling here, as you can see. The big purple line at the top is Trump at 53%. The green line sort of in the middle of the screen is DeSantis at 22. So Trump 53, DeSantis 22. Then it's Nikki Haley at about 4.5%. And after Nikki Haley is Mike Pence at 3.8%, just ahead of Vivek Ramaswamy. Will the announcement get some new support for Mike Pence? It might, a couple of points worth, I would expect. But is this going to be a big shakeup to the Republican primary? I don't think so. And part of it has to do with the fact that many of the very people who are not on the MAGA side don't see Pence as the strongest alternative, partially because Pence, even though he may be displeased with some of the way that Donald Trump managed the presidency or whatever, Pence is too close. If you want to go anti-MAGA, you probably don't go with the MAGA vice president as much distance as Pence would like to put between himself and Trump. So the question is going to be, for the MAGA group, is there an alternative to Trump? I doubt it would be Pence, because many of those MAGA people are mad that Pence, quote, didn't send it back to the states in 2020 to try to prevent Joe Biden from becoming president in 2020 and 2021, even though he really couldn't do that. And so it's unlikely that they would say, well, we really are MAGA. We want something better, so we'll go with Pence because they see Pence as an enemy, quite frankly, thanks to the rhetoric from Donald Trump. On the other hand, the anti-MAGA people would likely go with someone who was never affiliated with Donald Trump. So I don't exactly see how Mike Pence is going to get anything out of this. Mike Pence is, I believe, in his early 60s. Mike Pence age, 63. So I don't know if Pence is calculating that if he wants to do this, he'd rather do it at age 63 rather than 67, and maybe closer to when he is more of a household name, maybe thinking by 2028, maybe people will have forgotten about me. I don't know. Again, I don't exactly know what Pence is thinking. I see the campaign as dead on arrival, but let's now talk about a much more interesting campaign than that of Mike Pence. Let's talk about Chris Christie. If you've been getting crushed in the markets lately, like many people have, you were probably happy to hear that Treasury yields have been surging. Right now, you can get a 5% yield on Treasury bills, which is higher than most high-yield savings accounts I've seen. And unlike a high-yield savings account, Treasury bills are a fixed-rate asset, so you know what you're getting at the time of purchase, but buying U.S. Treasuries can be very complicated, or at least it was, because our sponsor, Public.com, lets you buy Treasury bills in seconds right from your phone and put your cash to work. Keep in mind that Treasury bills are government-backed securities considered one of the safest investments around. When you buy them on Public, they are securely stored at the Bank of New York Mellon, the world's largest custodian bank and security services company. Plus, there are no minimum hold periods or settlement delays. You can access funds anytime. If you keep it invested, Public will automatically roll over your investments at maturity, so you have one thing you don't have to think about. Go to public.com/Pacman to start getting that 5% yield on your cash. The link is down below.